What's going on, Bills fans? This is Bills Latest. We are brought to you by FanArc, and we got a weird one for you today. How many of you out there have heard of the old jock tax? The whole jock tax. Our boy Sammy Darnold actually loses $70,000 after winning that Super Bowl. This is what, and I quote, this is what is known as the state's jock tax, in which they tax non-resident professional athletes based on the number of quote-unquote duty days they spend in the state traveling, practicing, attending meetings, or playing in a game. So both teams, they were there 8 days. 8 days. And what you do is they then divide those California duty days over the entire season, and you end up with a percentage. If a player spends, say, 7% of his duty days in California over the season, then the state claims the right to tax 7% of his entire annual salary at California's top marginal rate of 13.3%, folks. That's crazy. That is crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I always knew taxes were different in different states, and so, but this just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense because, and maybe this is a loophole. If I'm a New York team or a California team where the tax rate is high, why wouldn't I try scheduling as many games in low tax states? That way everybody keeps more money. Well, that's how I would try to I would be pushing for my schedules. That is wild. That is wild. And it was nice to see California actually cleaned up for the Super Bowl. That was pretty cool. Maybe that's why they needed the jock tax. They had to pay the janitors. Unreal. I thought that was crazy. I thought that was absolutely crazy. But anyways, on to some Bills news, folks. Now, the latest mock draft that is out is we're moving up to 20th. And we're dumping a couple picks. And it's looking like Denzel Boston out of Washington now, wide receiver. Basically the same size as Keon Coleman. What's that tell you? I'm telling you, man, they're done with Keon. He would have to come back and be like a superstar out of the gate for them not to be like, yeah, we're all set here. We're all set here. And I just don't see that happening. And I don't know if I like them drafting a wide receiver either. This guy's a big guy, quote unquote, sticky hands. You love a wide receiver with some sticky hands. If not, you know what they say. He'd be playing defensive back. But I just don't know. I don't know. And I'm not the only one. Fans seem a little divided on it. It's just, I don't think we have time to build a wide receiver. I just don't think we have time on our side. If we had time on our side and let's say we just won a Super Bowl this year, sure, send it. Absolutely send it. But again, I just think, why not? If we're packaging, we're giving up a few picks to move up about 5 spots. Why not just get rid of all of our picks? Maybe keep a couple. You say you're great in the late rounds. Keep your late round ones. Get rid of all the early ones because that's where you stink anyways. And try to package those for a deal on a wide receiver somehow, some way. Which I'm sure they're going to try to do. But if they strike out before the draft, not a good sign in Buffalo. If we're drafting a wide receiver, unless we've already traded for a proven number one, I don't like it. If we get a proven number one and say go draft this guy, don't hate that. I don't hate it. But without the number one, I don't think it's worth it. Go get a linebacker. I just don't think it's worth. And this team is so hamstrung as far as picks, cap room. Bean took a hell of a year to say put it on my plate. Because it's going to be tough to get any sort of deal done. When he had opportunities to get deals done earlier, not necessarily earlier this past season, but a year ago, 2 years ago, he could have made some things happen. But again, according to him, it sounds like McDermott was running the show, and he was just getting whoever McDermott wanted. And if that is the case, I would expect a lot of offensive players, a lot of offensive-minded players, because Brady's now the head coach, and he is no matter what he says that he's on the side of the defense, which he is, but he is always at heart an offensive guy. So that's where they'll be looking in the draft most likely, even though we all know they need help in other places. And we've seen it from the fans. Most want a wide receiver one. Others want linebacker. Both critical. Absolutely critical. I don't know what route they go. Ideal world, to me, you can draft a good linebacker. Those guys are around in that 20th pick. You can get a good one. But that wide receiver, if you could go get Justin Jefferson or Pickens, again, not necessarily, I would love it for it to be one of those two, but even if it's not one of those two, a proven number one, then it frees up the draft so much. Because that side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball needs to be shored up. And getting a linebacker would be nice. And I feel like you'll have a better selection of linebackers available in that 20 range rather than wide receivers. Even though you got a lot of draft analysts saying wide receivers are going to slide because a lot of teams have them. There isn't many teams that are in desperate need of a wide receiver. So we'll see the route that they go here in Buffalo. But the fans are kind of saying what we're all saying, seems like. Wide receiver, they want a proven guy. They don't want to draft one. And I don't blame them there. Because I agree, you don't have time to waste. You have, again, 1-2 years max. And that's when I think Josh starts really contemplating if 2 years from now there hasn't been any sort of significant improvement, progress, that's when he really starts to contemplate. But that has been it for today's Bills latest, folks. Again, we are brought to you by FanArc. Please comment, subscribe. We need all of that. We love all of that. It helps us out tremendously. And again, we'll be back with more stuff for you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much.